Welcome to the Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. Today, David and Steve aren't here, so we're going to have lots of fun. Jack's going to tell us some jokes, and then
He's already excited about the
Jack's
jokes.
going to tell us some jokes, and then we're going to dig into Andrew's sermon and talk a little bit about the upcoming Summit.
Yes. Well,
So-
yesterday was Father's Day, so we were talking jokes. We figured what better person to tell us jokes than our intern Jack over here for Father's Day, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jack, hit us with a few jokes. Let's see what's going on.
Okay, here we go. Where was Solomon's temple located?
By his ear.
On his head. That's what I was going to say.
On the side of his head.
Hey.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
High five.
Okay, the next one. Here we go. What kind of man was Boaz before he married Ruth?
Single. I don't know.
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
Oh, he's a ruthless man.
See what I did there?
That's pretty good.
That was all my joke. Okay, this one's...
As he reads off his phone.
This one's... Okay. After having children, Adam and Eve started getting a lot of questions from their kids about why they no longer lived in Eden. Adam has a simple answer for this. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is that bad?
I bet he said it's
Oh.
Eve. Eve's the reason. Blamed it on her.
We're going to skip
Your
that
mom.
one.
Yeah, never mind, guys.
It was a version of your mom joke. But, I thought he was clean, Jack.
I thought you pre-screened
We
these
said
jokes.
It's called Church Tech Today jokes. I don't know.
It's not bad. It was just not one I would make.
Guys, sorry. Hold on, guys. Some of these just aren't good at all.
That makes them even better.
That's
Give
the
us the
point
bad
of
ones,
the
Jack.
dad
Yeah,
jokes.
give us the corniest.
They're all really long.
Go for it.
Okay. A middle-aged woman has a heart attack and is taken to the hospital. While on the operating table, she has a near-death experience. During this experience, she sees God and asks him, "Is this it?" God says no and explains that she has another 30 years to live. Upon her recovery, she decides to just stay in the hospital and have a facelift, lip liposuction, tummy tuck, and so on. She even has someone come in and change her hair color. She figures since she's got another 30 years, she might as well make the most of it. She walks out of the hospital after the last operation and is killed by an ambulance speeding by. She arrives in front of God and complains, "I thought you said I had another 30 years. God replies, "I didn't recognize you." Get it? Because she had like all those surgeries.
Wow.
I don't think that's funny because I think God doesn't care so much about the outside as he does
I
the
just read the
inside.
joke. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't even read it. Okay, we're done. We're done. Someone move on.
All
Move
right.
on.
Poor
Move
Jack.
on.
Does anybody have a good joke?
I got a joke.
All
All
right.
right, you ready? This is not necessarily a dad joke, but it's corny enough to be a dad joke. So here we go. Why do elephants paint their toenails red? This is where you say why.
They actually
Why?
don't do that.
That way they can blend in when they're standing in a strawberry patch. Have you ever seen an elephant in a strawberry patch?
No.
I guess it's working.
Wow.
That was a good one, right?
Did you hear the silence?
Should
That
we
was
just
worse than the
restart
one I
this
just read.
podcast at this point?
Did you make that up?
I don't know. I can't remember. I've been telling that one for so long that I can't
can't
remember
remember if
where
it's
I
yours.
got that joke actually. So
That was worse than mine.
Have you ever seen a
Well, that was fun.
yeah.
in a strawberry patch?
Good job, Jack. I'm glad you're here.
Everyone hates me here.
Hey,
help me.
Google
We love you, Jack.
Google let you down today. Google let
Yeah,
you
we'll
down
blame
today.
Google.
We'll blame Google for the bad, not so funny jokes that took way too long to tell.
You know what won't let you down like one of Jack's jokes? The Summit.
The summit. That is
Summit.
true.
It won't let you
The
down.
The Summit's coming up, and it's a pretty cool thing. We should probably talk a little bit about it.
We should.
I was going to let Jack share, but probably shouldn't let him. talk about
He's had his
the Summit.
I don't
time.
even know
Had
what
his
the
time on the
summit
microphone
is.
already.
He doesn't even know what the Summit is. Were you at church yesterday?
Did you listen to my
Yes,
sermon?
but it was mentioned like
Actually,
once.
Jack, you
times,
you
actually.
taught at students, didn't you?
I did, yes.
How'd that go?
It went pretty well, I'd
Pretty
say.
well?
Yeah.
What did you talk about?
We're proud of you.
Thank you. We talked about our mission and how Jesus invites us to share the gospel with everybody. And that's the full mission for everyone. We talked about the Great Commission as well. So, yeah, it was pretty good. It was fun.
Pretty good.
I heard it went well, Jack. So good job.
Thank you.
Good job. So yeah, the summit yesterday in the sermon got to unveil in sorts of the summit for the first time, which was exciting. I had the t-shirt on. We had the logo up, but it's something we've been working on for a long time.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
What are you most excited about the summit?
Well, real quick, what is the summit? Just in case someone wasn't at church.
That's true.
The summit is program. Is that a good word?
Yeah.
For 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And our goal is to make disciples that stick with Christ. That's what we want to do. We want them when they leave the gathering, when and if they do, to stick with Christ.
Yeah, we're basically calling it. It's a discipleship program where we want to equip kids on a firm foundation of what truth is, because we realize these kids, in a world where there's not so much truth anymore, and truth is hard to find, that we want them to know what the actual truth is. So that way, when they leave the church, their foundation is on that, and they,
Yeah, and they can stand against untruth that they hear like at college or out in the world or whatever. And they'll be like, wait a minute, is that right though? Because I heard it this way.
Yep.
Yeah. So then it kind of gives them a chance to sort of digest their own faith.
Yeah.
We have a question from Jack.
Why was the name Summit decided for this?
Because faith is a climb, Jack.
The summit was what, like the third it was like the third or fourth name, and what was the first one again?
Runway.
Project Runway.
Project
was
Runway.
the very first.
That got
name.
nixed pretty
Probably
quick.
not.
Nixed pretty fast. Project Runway. It was a great idea of like lifting your kids. I don't know. Like the whole idea was a plane.
We didn't know if we were turning them into like supermodels or if we were doing airplanes. It was very.
I think it was trademarked, maybe.
Yeah. A cease and desist may have come across our desk.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, but it was the summit. That's a great idea, though. The summit. I think we went with it because it's the idea of it's a faith journey. That you start out. Base camp is what I think the first year is going to be called, right? Base camp, which is going to be really cool for the 4th graders, and you just go up from there. So building on those foundations of what truth is.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get started.
What are you most excited about?
I already said that.
Oh, you already did?
I'll tell you something else I'm excited about. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
It's going to be you and me.
Yeah.
And, are you good with idiocy? I'm great with idiocy.
Have you seen?
We can have idiocy.
You have to go with
Well, I
idiocy to
haven't
work
been
here,
with-
don't you? You're working with this guy.
I mean, idiocy, I love it.
Yes.
Because kids love idiocy. And let's meet them where they are and we have fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, too, is we always want to make it fun for them, too, because that's the thing. It is fun. What they're doing is fun. And
It
so
is.
it's going to be a good program for these kids to join in. So,
Exciting.
yeah.
What are like the benefits you think you'll see in the kids' lives and even the families that participate in this? Like, why should parents get excited?
I think one big thing is because it creates opportunities for parents to engage with their kids and partnering with the church. And that's one big thing that I've always said that sometimes church lacks on is that partnership between the ministries and the parents. And now we're trying to bring those two together so that we're working together, because we know that the main growth happens at home, right? The parents. And so now it's like, well, let's partner together too to make it even stronger. So that way we can give you tools at home as well to help out. So that way you can reinforce what is going on at church at home as well.
It's
and that's
kind of
one
like
of the
a cue
things.
card, like for a conversation about Jesus, because what'd you talk about today? Oh, and we provided that to parents. Here's what we talked about today, and so it can get a conversation going. And I think too, I like the regularity of exposure to this kind of content. So this is like higher brow thinking content that we're going to be giving, but also fun. So I think that regular once a month during the school year exposure to them is to this kind of thing is a great thing for kids, and so that way when they do hear things that may not be truth, they can know, hey, I don't know, like I was exposed to the truth regularly, and that doesn't sound like the truth.
Yes.
So it's gonna be fun. I sound like such a serious, but it is serious, but it's also fun.
We have some, informational meetings coming up about this, don't we? Mm-hmm. When are those?
Oh my gosh, he's
Oh,
gonna
you're
get
gonna
in
ask
our
us-
phones.
I'll look them up.
Dates.
I looked them up. We've got a lot of dates coming up, but
All those the information meetings for like parents to
September,
come and
July.
yeah.
He's making us look bad.
well, while I look this up, I'll look this up, and by the end of the podcast, we'll have it. And we'll
There
put
we
a
go.
link in the description.
There
too.
we go.
All
There
right.
we go.
There
We
we
know
go.
it starts in September.
Starts in September.
At the end of September.
We know we're
we're gonna
teaching
be
it.
starting the summit. You'll be getting a lot of information coming up. You'll be getting things delivered to your house for the summit. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. You're going to see a lot of people wearing summit gear here in the near future, things in the lobby for it. And
You're going to hear summit for a while.
It'll be, because it's one of our big focuses this year. So
Exciting.
we're definitely putting a lot of effort into this, and because we know how important it is. Those ages, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, it's so important to ground them in truth then.
Yeah.
Because after that, the world doesn't stop trying to feed lies to lies
Relentless.
to them. So
Yeah.
My phone's not working.
it does. We don't.
Hold on. I can dig it.
We'll post the dates.
We'll
We'll
post the
post the dates up, and that way you'll have it underneath this video. We'll post the dates
Should've
for
brought my computer
informational meetings coming up. So
We'll figure it out.
Well,
So
speaking of
impressive.
some good information coming out, Andrew, you preached a pretty good message yesterday.
Yeah.
appreciate it. It was the first time. I'll tell you. I've preached quite a bit, but I was nervous yesterday because it was the first time doing 3 services, and my voice gives out like a lot easier, I think, than others. I don't know why. So I was so nervous, like what my voice was going to be like that 3rd service. And I just remember, like, in between the 2nd and 3rd, I just sat back there with cough drops the whole time, just making sure that I could talk for the whole 35 minutes for the 3rd service. But I appreciate it. I
think we should get us like a vaporizer, like a towel, and we can sit back here and. How do you
Sauna.
do it?
Let's get.
I mean, you must have to do like voice stuff to sing 3 times.
I mean, yeah. It's the trick is your voice hydrates the same way any other like part of your body does. So just I'm thirsty. Drinking water, that's not gonna help. You have to drink a ton of water the day before, and then I drink tea a lot, and cough drops, or when I have do have that tickle, do help. But if you're at that point where it's starting to go, it's you can just kind of
late.
You can kind of like delay it a little bit and mediate, but you can't really. You're past the point of no return.
Yeah.
At that point. So
I thought about the first service, just breaking out my Mr. Rogers voice. I was talking to you about that and just being like, "Good morning, everybody. Welcome
That
to
was
church."
so
And just
weird.
trying to like sit down and like
I think you should do the rest of the podcast in that voice.
in Mr. Rogers
Yeah.
voice.
like ASMR mode,
It'd be the least viewed podcast episode that we have to date.
grow together.
Why do these people whisper? Is that some kind of theological stance? No, it's just Andrew.
It's just Andrew talking.
That'd be wild to see if somebody like had a reason why you should only whisper. Like, I bet there's somebody out there.
There probably is. There probably is a reason.
You just never heard of them or heard them.
So I have a whole page of things about your sermon.
Oh man! All right, are these questions?
Well, kind of.
Are you gonna
Some of
grill
them
him?
comments. No, I
Okay.
think his stuff was great. So one of my favorite things about working at the gathering is that there are like so many dudes, and you guys are younger than me, by a large margin, sort of. But the stuff that you say helps me learn so much about men and women. And I've been married for 27 years. What is so funny? What is so funny?
Go ahead, John.
I don't know. It's not. You're learning not from our insight. You're learning from the lack of insight we have, right? Because
No,
we
no.
know,
Don't
like,
know anything.
I don't know what I'm
Actually
doing.
not. No.
We say ignorant stuff all the
I
time.
love it. So Brooke's here. Hi, Brooke. Look, Brooke wore a mountain on her shirt today. It's like she knew. We're going to
We're
talk
talking
about
about the summit. She's
See,
excited about the
woman's
summit, too.
intuition. Right there. She's excited.
Yeah.
She barely, misses the cut, right? Because you're an adult. Never mind. I shouldn't be on this thing. I shouldn't be on this
You're
thing.
doing great. You're doing great.
I'm in age.
You're getting a phone call right
Because
by
y'all
the
all
way.
look so young to me. Like, look, Brooke looks very young. Yeah, and I'm getting a phone call from Mercy Healthcare. That's probably fun. Anyway, so one of the things that stood out to me was when you were talking about how when you're like, "Hey, honey, come sit down and relax." It's because you want to watch the game on TV.
Yeah.
I thought that was
She's
very
making me feel bad
insightful.
that I'm sitting and wanting to watch and she's cleaning. So sit down so I don't feel so bad.
That
for
is so,
sitting and-
what she probably is just cleaning because she wants it to be clean.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
What do you think, Brooke? You're a girl. Brooke loves to be invited
we're
in the
putting our
podcast.
other ones on the spot here. We're putting other ones on
Jack, will you explain women to us?
Good luck, Jack.
I don't want to offend anybody, so no.
Good answer.
Oh,
I think. I don't know.
Wait. So you're saying your explanation of women would be offensive?
No, I don't want it to come off as offensive.
How can you talk about women like that, Jack?
I love women. They're amazing.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
Good job, Jack.
Thank you.
Good job.
I saved it.
We'll talk after class, Jack.
That was part of one of my insights into the mind of the man at the beginning there. That when the man says, sit down, relax, take a break, what he's really saying is, hey, I'm trying to watch a game and you're distracting me. And you're also making me feel bad because I'm sitting and you're working.
Okay, so another thing you talked about was men being fixers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most tested things in the world. It's as true of like every couple I know. The guy wants to fix everything and the woman just wants to talk about it. Do you know what I'm talking about? You've been married for a while now. Like, we just want to talk to you and you're like, well, let me do this for you. Let me do that for you. Like, no, I don't want you to do that. He's like, what? And I'm like, I just want you to listen. Which I've learned to say, I just need you to listen to this. I don't need you to fix it. But he still wants to go in there. He still wants to fix it.
Yes.
Like, because that's what you guys want to do. So I think if women and men would just
don't like
understand
talking.
this about each other,
Yeah.
like that would go very far to keeping, marriages together.
And so, instead of talking the whole time, we're like, well, what can we do to fix this? So that way we don't have to talk
let's
about
get
it.
to
No, wrong. No, the woman just wants to talk. She just wants to listen to her. Why is that so hard? I just got to know. Jack, why is that so hard?
What was the question?
Never mind. So I shouldn't be doing this.
You're doing great.
Right.
You're doing great.
Y'all always say I'm doing great even when I'm not. So let's go. All right. So what would you do if you were not a pastor? I've already asked you this before.
Oh, yeah. What would I do my dream as a child was to be a professional wrestler. At the time
Like
it was
Nacho?
WWF, right?
Uh-huh.
Now I can't say that's WWE now, but nowadays I probably teach. I like teaching.
Me too.
So I'd probably be a teacher, still
Well, you
get to
did
work.
that, right?
Yeah, I did. This last year taught Bible classes and
Yeah.
stuff, but probably be a
Exciting.
teacher. So yeah.
Me too. So I love your story about Judah and the homeless man.
Oh yeah.
Right? Kids will always call you to the carpet, right? They're
Yeah.
always like, if you're not behaving to your own standard, they'll always say like, hey, shouldn't we help that guy?
Right.
And it becomes sticky with that kind of stuff because it's a homeless man. I always think, okay, well, I'm not going to bring my child up to a homeless person because sometimes there's, trouble with mental illness and things. But then I met this woman and she had this homeless ministry and she brought her kids like right up to the homeless people and would talk to them and that kind of thing. And there was some little moments of like, that happened. But I thought that convicted me because I'm like, you know what? I should be much better about deliberately saying that is a homeless person. Here's how they probably got that way because you said he may not be able to work. And I was
Yeah.
like, that was a good point because
Yeah.
sometimes homeless people are not able to work. And I just love that a little child will just go up and be like, well, this is the right thing to do.
Right.
They know what
They
right
don't
thing to
already
do is.
have all those preconceived notions and like things that you may think about something in their mind. It's like, well, if you need help, we can help them. It's like, you're right, Judah. We could help. And we should. And we're going to. So.
Kids boil it down, man.
Yeah.
They've got it down.
Yeah.
I love that about them. And I think that was a super good point.
I appreciate that. That's why I always like what I said is like, I think that's why Jesus says you need to have faith like this child, like to them, they see and do. And it's you're not doubting or thinking or they just think the best of the situation, right? Well, we can help them, right? So let's help them. So
That's so sweet. I read this book on Mother Teresa about Mother Teresa, like one of her interviews, and she said that we should treat everyone as if they are Jesus himself. Like, and that's how and that like super resonate with my kids. I said all this stuff to my kids and now that they're adults, they'll feed it back to me. I'm like, did I say that really? And they're like, yeah. Like, okay. So I'm learning like what sticks and what doesn't stick.
Yeah.
And all the things that we talk about being compassionate to other people, those things stuck.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really good point of view.
I'm really interested in what's going to stick with my kids later on. Is it how to do the best suplex or how to arm wrestle or best
That
way to make
too.
a taco?
I don't know because I'm not a boy. Like I would stick with Judah. I know what
Right
might
now,
stick with
Judah,
Esther.
it's all video games and wrestling. Like we wrestle in the backyard.
Why do little boys love to wrestle so much? Were you all like this? when you were
Yes.
kids?
Oh yeah.
You want to just like fight it out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you know like how far is too far? This is what makes me nervous about wrestling.
I mean, blood,
Hospital, probably.
hospital,
Do you
broken
guys
arm.
like body slam your kids?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
into the couch and
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff? That looks
Yep.
fun to me too. Anyway, the other thing, you were talked about in there. I thought this was the best thing you said. It was all good. But raise a confessor instead of a concealer. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the best things you can do for your kids is apologize and say like, oh, mommy was being just a turd on that. Like mine was being rude. And she said so-and-so in front of, maybe I said something rude kind of to somebody else. It doesn't happen a lot because I'm just kind of chill.
Yeah.
But with them, I'm much more like, you would do what I said, like raising the voice because I'm a little old school. And I'm like, okay, mommy was being, not very nice on that. Sorry about that. Mine was just grumpy and I shouldn't have said that to you. And that stuff has such an impact when you apologize to your kids.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So did your parents apologize to you guys when they did stuff wrong? Yeah. It made a real impact. It's probably a generational thing because nobody ever apologized to me when I was a kid. They were right, and that was all there was to it. And you were just a dumb kid, and that's just how it was. And so I learned to apologize to my kids, which, my adult sons watch this, and they're probably like, yeah, right, Mom. You're right. But I really did, apologize to them. Yeah. So I think you were so right about that. And I never thought about, okay, we're raising confessors when we confess our own ineptitudes and the things that we should apologize for.
Yeah.
We're actually teaching them something when we do that, which, you kind of know you are, but I never thought of it from the point of we're teaching them not to conceal what they do wrong, their sin. I always thought, well, this is the right thing to do. If you wrong someone, you should apologize for it. But that's even a deeper thought. And I think you're so right about it. So good job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just that idea if they see us do it, it's a normal thing that when we mess up, we just go to them and say, hey, we messed up. And will you show me grace and compassion and hopes that they do the same thing. And as they get older, especially in the teenage years, and hoping that, that when they mess up, they can still come to us and, know that we're a safe place to talk about those things. So
it's a good job.
Thanks.
You're gonna do great with your kids. You are.
We'll see.
And I think that's the end of my profound questions for you and comments.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, such a good podcaster Rebecca is.
That was great.
Yeah,
that was good. It was a good discussion. Good discussion.
All right.
You used ineptitudes.
Huh?
You use words all the time that I'm not expecting somebody to say.
You just don't think I'm smart, John?
No, I think you're smart. I'm saying I think you're smart because you say words. I'm like, I've only read that. I don't hear people.
I don't know how to use that in a
saying things
sentence.
Well, you know what happens to me though is sometimes, I read so much when I was a kid and I learned all these words. I like words and I'll always look them up if I don't know what they mean because I don't like to not know what they mean. But sometimes I pronounce them incorrectly. And somebody will be like, oh, you pronounced that incorrectly. I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing.
I do that all the time. And I'm like saying it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, you don't know how to say this. And so I second guess. I'm like, different word, different. Okay. And then,
yeah. Well,
change words.
Change
as
words.
you're talking.
Jack,
word,
you have
yeah.
a comment?
I have a question. So when you guys were kids, you guys couldn't look things up online. Would you have to go to the library to look stuff
Somebody
up?
killed Jack.
It was like,
somebody
all
would
of
throw
us were
something
born
at
with
Jack.
a cell phone in our hands, Jack.
or would you just
Brooke,
wonder
throw something-
what it meant? Or you just be like, oh, I guess I'll never figure it out.
So
Okay,
we
we
had
had
these
these
things
things.
called the
Books.
library,
The
the
what I'm saying.
encyclopedia.
The
I know,
dictionary.
would you go all the way to the library just
Wait,
to
No,
figure
we
out
owned
what
an
it
the
meant?
dictionary? You
encyclopedia.
didn't have-
You owned one.
Well, several
Online?
of them actually. It was a whole
Oh,
set.
we had to use
Oh,
a
so you're
dictionary as a kid. There was
Yeah, we
no,
had
have
dictionary.
online-
Yeah.
not
Okay.
as a
Privileged
kid,
and
no.
rich.
I always
Yeah,
think so old.
we were a fortunate family to own our own encyclopedias.
Yeah, you had the big set.
Our elementary classrooms
rich
had all
kids
the
have
the
that stuff.
sources, dictionaries, and the
Thesaurus.
encyclopedias, and stuff like that. And so go look it up, and you had to go open a book for it.
You had to have the little blue. Did y'all ever have the blue paperback one? Do you know what I'm talking about? No. Everyone had it. It's like the web. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we had that.
Old
I
school.
have mine still.
I do too. I can't let it go. Anybody else a book hoarder? Are you a book hoarder?
My wife is.
I have
that
all
out
my
of
books
podcast.
from school still because I paid so much money for them.
I feel the same.
I can't throw away my college books because I'm like, that cost me almost as much as my tuition. Like,
Yes.
I'm still paying for those books.
I'm still
I think
paying
right
these off.
now. My theology book, I'm still paying for. to
one
this day.
semester didn't buy any books, and I just bummed books off of the other people in my class.
You
And
did?
It worked.
Smart.
Yeah.
You
Well,
would. That's smart.
I learned
what I
real
did
quick,
last
don't
semester.
buy the books. Go to the class first and see, is this book really used? Because I remember my first semester buying these books and
ones that are
open
this
it
thick?
once or twice a semester. I'm like, I paid all this money to
Do you
open
guys
this
remember? It was called Google Books or something like that, and Google got in huge trouble for it. But they were basically just scanning and uploading books and building a digital library, which is totally against all copyright rules or whatever. But when I was in college was when that was all happening. So for 2 years, I could find a lot of my books just.
Oh yes, I do
Google.
remember that.
Those
then
obscure
all went away.
theology books.
Oh, yeah.
Those are awesome. You pull that up on Google Books.
There you go.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Now I pay like $4 on Kindle. It's whatever.
Do you guys have words you cannot pronounce?
Yes. I'm
I
from
have
Missouri.
the one. Huh?
I'm from Missouri. Of course I
No,
have
you
words
know
I
how
can't
some
pronounce.
words you
Every
can't
word.
say that you can never say like when you're preaching?
Yeah, not
Or
necessarily.
you
when I'm preaching.
or talking like out loud when
So I
you don't want to
sometimes,
sound like an idiot?
I can't, sometimes when I'm speaking, I don't say breakfast, right? I say breakfast.
You say breakfast.
I say breakfast a lot. And I like it very intentional, trying to not say it that way anymore. But you'll catch me especially if I'm talking really fast, I'll say breakfast. And
breakfast.
Yep.
That's
See,
cute.
I just have words that people don't understand sometimes. The East Kentucky words that I'll say, they're
Like?
like, "What is that?" Right? Or I'll say something like, "Is whopper jawed?" If I said something was
I say
whopper jawed,
I say
whopper
whapper jawed though.
Whapper
with an A, yeah.
jawed.
But I would know what you're saying.
I mean, something's like a mess or something like that. One word is funny. Actually, Judah correct, because I always said for crayon, I just always say crown.
let's say, yeah.
Wait,
So you say
what?
crowns?
I say crown.
What do you say?
Judah
What do you
would be
say?
like, Daddy, these aren't crowns.
Okay.
These are crayons.
What do you say?
Crayon.
Crayon? What do you say?
Crayon.
Crayon? I say crown.
I say
You
crown. Say, hey, get the
Crown.
crowns.
Get your crown.
The crayon, that's the one I've heard a lot, and I get crowns because if you say crayon really fast, it starts sounding like crown. Crayon, I don't get. Crayon is it's like Kleenex. That's a name brand. So what is a crayon? Like, what is it?
What
It's a
is
name
a
brand for
That's
something.
true.
Like,
So if
You're
it's
right.
all
Kleenex
So
is
what is
tissue.
it? A wax
a wax-colored wax. Stick.
color applier.
Yeah.
Oh, what that is?
art stick.
Art stick. It's not called an art stick.
Art stick.
A wax. Yeah.
Crayon.
When I went to
Crayon.
college,
That just
I
sounds
had
like a
somebody.
hillbilly.
Crown.
Crayon.
Crown.
Crayon.
I can't even do it.
Crayon.
It's my French Canadian.
I didn't
accent.
realize I was saying it like different than anybody else until I went to college. And someone was like, "You say crown?" Huh? And then I was like, "What do you say?" And he goes, "Crayon." And I was like, "What are you saying?"
That's so much better.
It's like, what? I get the crayon thing because that's a name. It's like Kleenex, but yeah.
Well, I have like Cajun words I'll say sometimes. I'm like, no one knows what I'm talking about. Or I'll say, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't.
What do you call the little bugs that roll up?
Doodle bugs.
Roly polies.
Roly polies.
Roly polies.
Roly polies.
You say doodle bugs?
Doodle bug, yeah.
And then another good, when it's sunny outside, but it's also raining. What do you call that?
Louisiana.
All right. I saw that was a thing. I always called them sun showers, but
Sun shower. Oh, that's sweet. Sun
Never
showers.
heard sun showers before.
I heard that was one of the ones.
Sun showers.
Coke, pop, soda,
Pop.
Coke.
Coke.
soda.
You Coke?
Wow.
Speaking of Cocaine Bear, we were
Why
talking about
do you
earlier.
say Coke? Because you're from up here.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Is your family
Because
from
it's
the
the right
South?
way to say it. That's why he says it.
No.
All right. So if you want to drink a Pepsi, you say I want a Pepsi Coke, or how do you say that?
Okay, this is weird. I actually like Pepsi better than Coke.
Right
Boo.
answer.
But I call
Correct.
it-
Wrong.
But I call it Coke. I don't know. It's weird.
So you like, give me a Coke, and they say what Coke you want. You say Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yeah, You, in the South, you say at the McDonald's drive-through, I would like a number 2 with a. Well, do you want a Coke? Yeah, I would like a Diet Coke. That's how you answer it. I did it at the movies the other day. Embarrassing. You know those big, huge, large drinks at the movies. You get the combo. And I make my
$14 for a
kids share it
drink. You
with
better
me.
get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, and I like a. Do you have a combo with a popcorn and a Coke? And she says yes. So she feels like the Coke, and I was like, is that Diet Coke? And she's like, no, it's Coke. You said Coke. I'm like, I'm really sorry. Could you give me a Diet Coke instead?
I call everything Coke.
a $14 combo.
I'm not from here. I don't speak like you.
That's embarrassing. But all kinds of stuff happens like that when you're from Louisiana. You move into the north.
What was like your biggest culture shock?
I moved to Memphis, when I was 32, I think.
A baby step,
I'm sorry. I moved from Memphis when I was 32. So I had a huge culture shock when I moved to Memphis from Louisiana when I was like 16. People could not understand my speech. Like it was, I guess I thought I didn't have a thick accent. Apparently I did. So that was the biggest part. But moving up here, the biggest adjustment was the cordial nature of the South. Not that you guys are, up here and I'm one of you guys now, but even at like the grocery store, like no one makes eye contact with you when you go down the aisle. That would be considered extremely rude.
Yep.
Like when you go by, and if you don't like say hello or at least not acknowledge your presence. And another thing is when you're at the grocery store and like someone will reach and grab something in front of you, people wouldn't do that in the South. They would say, "Excuse me, would you mind if I reach in front of you?"
So I've noticed this really weird thing in Ohio, and it's not like this in Missouri. And I'm wondering if it's the same like for you from Louisiana. In grocery stores, people don't say "excuse me"; they just stand there and wait for you to get out of their way.
Yeah,
and it drives me crazy because I'm like,
I already see
you're
what I want.
lurking on me.
Yeah, just just if you literally just say "excuse me," I would be, "Oh yeah, let me get out here." And you're so happy, but now I'm like uncomfortable because I'm like, "Why are you looking at me?" But
you're just staring at me.
yeah.
Oh, a guy slammed the door on me once because I'm Southern and I thought he was going to hold the door open for me. I'm a girl, so.
He showed us.
Yes.
So, well, it was kind of like one of those.
If
where
that was you and you're
it's like
listening,
long
shame on you.
It was like long range, where you're not sure how long you should keep the door open. But in the South, he definitely would have stood there, not in the north. Wham! I was like, ow!
I get stuck holding the door open for people all the time.
Yes.
I do too.
Because you don't
They're just
know when
walking. I'm like, come on, I'm waiting for you.
You're being
There's
like
that
30 yards
awkward
away.
moment
I'm
when they have
just
to like
standing there
run,
holding
and
it.
they're like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh
Oh,
no,
that's
it's
okay. Take your time.
I'm waiting for you, but if we could
yeah.
be a little faster. Yeah.
It's a big difference. I mean, like, because, we even just come from Kentucky, and we were down in Kentucky not too long ago. And Sam is not, like, wasn't necessarily used to it, but I just strike up conversations with people in line and talk to them. And then, like, moving here, it's been very different, even though it's not that far away. But when we were down in Kentucky a couple weeks ago, we were in line, and this couple behind us strikes up a conversation with us. And Sam's like, I miss that. People just talking to you. And even though you're not, like, friends now, but it was just a friendly conversation in line where people just talk to you and stuff. So
And it's all cool.
I wonder if it's just like a thing of like, I think people are in a rush. Some people are more just a rush of like, I don't want to talk, don't want to make eye contact. Like I know what I'm here for. I'm going to get it. I'm going to go.
Well, I think people think they're being like, it's just a culture swing because people think they're being rude if they intrude on your day here, where in the South, we're rude if we don't intrude on their day.
Yeah.
It's like a fun,
I think that's
fun
interesting because I don't know if that's just how parents raise each other or raise their kids. Because I was raised to hold the door and strike up conversations and like do stuff like that. So I don't know if that's an
You
Ohio
also say
thing
Coke,
or-
so you probably were just taught some Southern values.
I don't know,
All
but
right, we're on my team, Jack.
We approve. Your parents did a good job.
yeah,
Well,
but
you
I
have
don't
to
know
give
if it's like a Ohio thing or like a Northern thing. I just think it's like, how do your parents raise you?
I think it's in general, right? There's much more of like I call it coldness, but it's not cold. But you know what I'm saying? Compared
Yeah.
to like, much more rural and Southern kind of community like that you find.
It's just different.
But you can teach that for sure. Like it's values. It's valuing people and the way you choose to value them that way.
Well, it's also choosing like how you're going to see your environment around you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like people aren't they're not meaner or ruder here. Of course not. It's just different.
One of the most interesting things when I moved to Ohio was my friends from the East Coast kept talking about how kind everybody in Ohio was and how much everyone was friendly and, it was so different than where they lived. And I was like, I think everyone in Ohio is a jerk, because, it was just so different, and it was just funny because it's wherever you came from, you come to this and you're like, oh, these people are rude. Oh, these people are so kind. And they were the same people. And
Well, go to New York City and then see if you think
Yeah, see if you
people
think
in
people
Ohio
are-
they're not. Yeah.
I have come to love Ohio because I've learned its, oddities, but
It's a really nice
I've
place
gotten
to
used to
live.
this.
Like we're glad
I love
our
living in
boys
Ohio.
grew up here. Yeah.
it's good. Well, on that note, anybody have anything else they want to say on the podcast? Jack,
Any last jokes?
any good
Jack?
jokes?
Brooke, you want to
guys,
say
I'm
anything?
sorry, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Brooke's going to hate me forever now.
She's like, is Rebecca on the podcast? I'm not coming in.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you here on the next one.
Deuces.
Peace.